Welcome, real estate investors, wealth hackers, stock hackers. I hope you're all staying awesome, happy, and healthy out there. 2020 has been a terrible, terrible year for many, and it's honestly an odd feeling, guilty almost. As many of us who do practice wealth hacking, and many of you who listen to this show, you are celebrating much success this year. Among our community of investors, after a record year of returns in both real estate and stock hacking, and if you're lucky enough, you got all your rent as well because the government's just been handing out subsidies for everybody. So hopefully you've been made whole with your rent. It's actually kind of odd. The conversation is actually starting to shift to infinite banking, which is one of the secrets of the rich, and that will be the topic that will be covered at the January IWIN meeting. For the infinite banking includes whole life insurance, and so Cherry and I are going through to get whole life insurance. I believe our application is done because last week we had to give blood and urine test samples for testing, and before that I had to stay off of alcohol and other fun stuff for about a month. So there's both investment of time and effort and a good amount of money. Hopefully will be worth it. I'm sure it is. It's actually Cherry that's spearheading this for our family, and she'll be giving part of that presentation in January on the subject of, again, infinite banking. So, in speaking of presentations, at my mastermind meeting last week that I attend with fellow seven-figure entrepreneurs, I was asked to give a presentation on how I've learned to build a mindset of positivity, optimism, and gratitude. So I like to reuse. I don't like to give a presentation once, so I'll be giving this presentation as well at the November IWIN meeting on November 28th. And to be honest, I'm not always happy. I have dark moments just like everybody else. But I've made some good decisions in my life. I've hustled hard to make sure that at least financially that we're always in a good place to be. And also I make sure that my gratitude outshines those dark moments. So if you're on our email newsletter, then you'll read about all our upcoming meetings, which in the November 28th IWIN meeting also includes a guest talk from Jay Gabrani. Jay is a entrepreneur with over 20 years experience, ultra successful guy. So he's actually decided to stop growing his online business and instead focus on having more free time for himself and his three kids, and also to develop his personal real estate portfolio. As in, like, literally develop. He's actually tearing down an existing house and building a new house on it for greater returns, and also stock hacking or stock option selling. Jay will be sharing how he came to this decision on closing down the business, and he'll also be sharing some tips and tricks around developing investment properties and stock hacking, of course. Our other guest speaker for November 28th is also Anna Scott, who will be sharing her stories and experiences being on all sides of real estate deals. As in, she's been the silent money partner who brought the credit. She's now a real estate expert, so she joint ventures herself as a real estate expert, as in she doesn't put in any of her own money in. Her partner puts in all the capital and provides the credit. She's also been a private money lender and also a borrower. Add to that, now she's brokering private money deals as a mortgage agent. So you don't want to miss this. Our IWIN meetings are again publicly available. For non-clients, the cost is nominal and all proceeds go to charity. Anyone who subscribes to my email newsletter will be notified when we host events, both real estate and stock hacking, to get on my newsletter, which comes also with being notified when new episodes are available for this podcast, along with the show notes. Simply go to www.truthaboutrealestateinvesting.ca, enter your name and email address on the right side, and that's it. Quick update from the stock hacking competition between Cherry and I. Because our stock hacking is going quite well, and with our plans to upgrade our home, we're closing down the personal account, which was what I was trading. There's no real purpose to trying to maximize my income in my personal account when we can just consolidate all of our monies into the corporate account. I'll manage the corporate account going forward, while Cherry focuses more on growing her business and also my businesses as well. Between the two accounts, we are averaging a 42% return, and well into six figures. Not bad for a beginner. There's also still lots of year left. I expect some fun things to happen in November, December. But again, not bad for a beginner. And after having made some seriously terrible mistakes early on in the year. So I've learned a lot this year, and the future for our stock hacking and for the students, stock hacker students, couldn't be brighter. Actually, fun enough, this morning I received a message from one of our students saying that their plan is to retire in 2021, thanks to what they've learned this year. With the holidays approaching, I'm receiving all these requests for my office address for the expected hate mail that I get for this show, Christmas cards, and to be honest, some people do want to express their appreciation for what this podcast has meant to them. I appreciate all the kind words. I like Christmas cards as much as anyone else, but as a bit of an enviro buff, it actually pains me every time I have to put one of those Christmas cards into recycling or the garbage. So as an alternative to sending me a card, I would love a review on iTunes. 5 stars obviously preferred. That's my favorite color. Also, for anyone who knows me, like, this show is largely about giving back. And reviews, especially on iTunes or Spotify, wherever you're listening to this, I don't think anyone else, any other platform accepts reviews. But reviews, honestly, new listeners or people who are looking for a podcast to listen to, they review them, then they read them. And that's how they decide what show to listen to. So if this show has helped you, hopefully you leave a review so that this show can go on helping more people. All right. If to find this podcast, if you're already using an iTunes podcast, or if you're already on an iPhone using the podcast app, really easy. I don't think I need to tell you how to do it. If you're listening to this on your computer, just Google "Truth About Real Estate Investing" iTunes, and you'll find your way there. Click on reviews. Again, 5 stars is my favorite color. On to this week's show: replacing teacher income with MLM, multi-level marketing, and real estate. And also a $200,000 bump in equity gains on a duplex conversion with Pascale Brisson. Pascale is a mom and wife living in Ottawa, Ontario. As a young mom and school teacher, the pandemic hit her pretty hard, with the decision to either keep teaching in this changing environment, and also that decision would have to include sending her son back to daycare. In my own experience, my kids were always sick. I'd never been so sick when my kids were in daycare and preschool, and this is pre-COVID. I can only empathize with parents in this current environment. Pascale decided to pivot this past summer, so she quit teaching and decided instead to work online in multi-level marketing. I've invited Pascale on the show because multi-level marketing is actually a common thread among many investors. For anyone who's listened to this show, you actually hear it come up pretty often. Jules Mckenzie, who is a dynamo in Barrie, Aurelia, he's done multi-level marketing. Lynne Tham, who's recently on the show, she spoke in front of thousands of people in Toronto as a market leader for Tupperware. And I also have friends who've been successful in MLM, who later go on to massive success in real estate. So that always makes me, I'm always looking for commonalities between successful people, and this is one of the things I've pulled out. But it makes me wonder, is it those who do side hustle inevitably will be successful, or is it the experience and training that these people learn from doing MLM that translate into success? I honestly think it's both. And also, one of the number one obstacles I get from real estate investors is they have trouble raising down payments. It's not that you can't raise a down payment. It's like you probably just need to be making more money. So that's why I have folks like Pascale, who's able to replace her job income with what is usually someone else's side hustle. Anyways, she's also a successful real estate investor, and she's currently converting a property into a legal duplex. And yeah, she's doing fantastic with her husband, Ryan, again in Ottawa, Ontario. And she's going to share some numbers on her current project. So you'll want to pay attention to that. All right. So without further ado, I give you Pascale Brisson. How's everyone like my French accent? Pascale? Did I say that right? I'm sorry, because I'm a basketball fan. So it's always, Americans saying Pascale Siakam.
Oh,
Right?
yeah. How are
Versus yours is
you?
French. Pascal Siakam, it could be French back. The name
Uh,
Pascal,
his last name does not sound French at all, so I'm
well, he's
not
from
too
Africa.
sure. Oh, yeah.
But it's not about where you're from. It's kind of who occupied,
Yes,
who visited the land.
colonization.
Yes, yes, yes. Often that drives languages, right? Like for example, I have
For
lots of Filipino
sure.
friends, and so they have a lot of Latino names,
Yes,
right? But yeah, his name is Pascal, but it's always said by Americans because we listen to American announcers. So how do you say it?
Pascal.
Pascal.
Yes.
Does Ryan get it right? Does he speak
Sometimes.
French? Oh,
It's
sometimes.
getting better actually. Since we met, his French greatly improved. So now he's able to have, conversations.
Uh huh.
With our son, we mostly speak to him just in French.
Uh huh.
So he's still working, with conjugating his verbs, like
Uh huh.
speaking in past tense and stuff like that. But he's getting pretty good actually.
Okay. So French is your
Yeah,
first language?
it is. Yes.
Okay. So I think there's two firsts for this show where we have a first language French and former model, I believe. Yeah. Okay. So I
For
think
myself.
yes. No, not for me. No.
No.
I don't think we've had a former model on this show yet. So
No.
okay. So this is fascinating. So I'm experimenting on how we do this show these days. So can you share with me where you are in your real estate journey, in your investment journey?
Yeah, absolutely. So I've been investing in real estate for about 7, 8 years now.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah, I kind of just, got into it by accident because I didn't have any money. Um, my parents co-signed with me on my first property, and I didn't really have a good job. I was a personal trainer back then, which is kind of like an unstable career with like not, it's not a very serious career. Sometimes clients leave you. So my salary was like all over the place. So my parents ended up co-signing with me, and I was so broke that I needed a solution to help me pay my mortgage. And I decided to just live in my basement and have some roommates upstairs, in the house, renting rooms. So I had students living with me, and they would pay me to rent an individual room in my house. And that's kind of like how I got started. I lived with roommates until my son was a year and a half. And we stayed in the basement until he was a year and a half. And after that, we decided to renovate that property completely, put it on the market. So we made a small profit.
Mhm.
And we did the same thing with, my husband also bought a small townhouse, and we did the same thing in Ottawa. And we got a really, really good return on both properties. And then after that, we purchased our first multi unit building. So now we have a duplex, which we purchased last summer. And, or sorry, yeah, last summer. And so it's been like a little over a year that we had that property. And this one is downtown Ottawa
Mhm.
in Little Italy. And it's 50% renovated right now. So we did like the first renovation upstairs when we first bought it, and currently we're renovating the bottom of the unit.
Mhm.
Um, and we did the strategy, I guess it's called BRRRR, where you like refinance the property to get some money and
Mhm.
then invest that money into the second renovation for the bottom.
Mhm. Awesome. Awesome. And so it's now become a conscientious decision to invest in real estate?
Yes, for sure. So, like at first, I wasn't really into it. My husband was a big fan of Grant Cardone. I found him so annoying, and I was like, "Why is this guy like he cares so much about money?" And I was not that type of girl. I was like a huge hippie. I love to like volunteer, travel. I like travel
Uh-huh.
to South America, Latin America, just like all about helping other people. So I saw landlords as like greedy people who like, don't care about others.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
But now I'm one of those people, and I think my mindset is just very different than what it was before.
Uh-huh. So
Yeah.
what's changed? When you became a landlord,
Um
you became that evil person just trying to
I mean, wouldn't say I'm an evil person. I think, I think that people that have money can do a lot of more good than people who don't have money. I
No
think that people
way.
who have, it's nice to be able to volunteer and give a few hours of your time here and there, but imagine how much like more impactful it is when you have millions of dollars and you can be, signing a check to the charity of your choice, or like
Hmm.
actually making a difference in your community. So I guess that would be like my driving force
Hmm.
behind like why I want to get wealthy and why I want to invest in real estate.
Hmm.
Um, but I think what changed is just COVID happened, and COVID changed a lot of my mindset.
Hmm.
I realized that a lot of things are not permanent, a lot of things are temporary, and basically there's a lot of uncertainty in the world. Like you could lose your job, just like that, or like
Hmm.
a pandemic can happen, and you need to be prepared for those things. And I think that COVID is teaching us a lot of good lessons
Hmm.
in that sense.
Yeah, if you were a personal trainer, how would business be for you in this environment?
Horrible. Yeah, it would be really, really bad. Like I mean, I left way before COVID happened. I switched careers, but yeah, I have a lot of friends who are personal trainers, and they have kids to feed, they have families to take care of, and it's such a stressful time for sure.
So how's business for you then? For you and Ryan?
My business is great because I'm 100% online,
Hmm.
and I think that my business model is very suitable for a lot of people out there, especially right now because it's pandemic. People want to be working from home, so because my business model kind of like fits with the lifestyle that people are going for right now,
Hmm.
my business is doing pretty well, and it's also like a consumable product, right? Like
Hmm.
everybody washes their hair, everybody takes a shower, like
Hmm.
you do it, I do it. So it's a product. Like when you're done your shampoo bottle, you need to buy more, and you need to buy more, and you need to buy more. It's not like something that you just need to buy one time.
Hmm.
So my business is doing great actually, and I'm loving it.
When did you start?
I started in July. I started my
Just
business in
recently.
July. Yeah, just this summer. Yeah. And it was really funny because this is all because of Grant Cardone that I did this.
That jerk. He's awful.
Yep. It's all because of Grant. So I
Seriously?
was,
What
yeah,
he
yeah, I
told you
was
to sell shampoo?
pretty much. So I like when COVID started, I was feeling so like anxious and depressed. I was a teacher full time, permanent, So my career like was teaching from home. So I had to teach my students basically 100% online. It was very chaotic. Like the job was already like very difficult, right? To be a teacher, it's not an easy career.
Mhm.
And having my son at home with me 100% of the time, plus teaching online, like it was getting very, very difficult and stressful as well. And I just like couldn't picture myself like going back to that work environment in September, putting my son in daycare. He was already like sick all the time when he was in daycare. So I was looking for solutions for my lifestyle. Like, what am I going to do that I can do and do it 100% online
Mhm.
while, making a lot of money and getting financially free?
Mhm.
And I knew that sales was the way to do that because my husband's in software sales and like he's very successful, obviously. Even if he has, like, I have 7 years of university, he has zero, and he makes a lot more money than I was making as a full-time teacher.
Mhm.
um, and he was loving his job, everything was going well, he was working from home, and I was like, wait, like why can't I have this? Like I want to learn how to do sales, and I want to be able to do that. So I just like really dove into like following Grant a little bit more, and especially his wife Elena Cardone.
Mhm.
And Elena has really, really good webinars for women that are in business or women that want to network with other people. And I stumbled upon her webinars, and I just started networking with some people that were part of that group. And actually, Elena's really good friend, Lucia, she's now my mentor.
Mm-hmm.
And Elena trains, she trains my team on like weekly basis. Elena Cardone will like go on a Zoom call with like just my team and give us that exclusive training. So for me, that like the dollar value related to that, like if I were to pay for private training from Elena and Grant, I would have to pay like, thousands of dollars to be having access to those people giving me advice and giving me sales training. But because I'm part of Monate, and because I'm part of that business and that specific team, I have access to, Grant's training, Elena's training, and their advice and their skills. So yeah.
So you're a school teacher, so you had pension and all that, very nice salary. Are you doing better now? Did you give it up, or are you just on break from being a teacher?
Yeah, no, I decided to do the switch because for me, it's not worth being miserable for 25 years to get to that pension. Yeah. And I see, like, I come from a family of teachers. Like, my dad is a teacher. My grandparents were teachers. I've seen, I've seen what the system can do to people. And my dad is retired now on, 40% of his salary, and it's not enough. And he has to go back to work and do supply teaching, and he doesn't have time to hang out with his grandson. So that to me, like, it breaks my heart, and I don't want to be in that situation, right? So
I thought teachers had lots of financial security. Was I incorrect in this?
Okay, so you start your career with a very small salary. I'm going to be very honest with you. After 7 years of university, I was making like 1,200 biweekly as a teacher. And like, that is not uncommon. Like, teachers who start their careers have to really grind at first. And it takes a long time before your salary goes up. And you have to put in the work. It takes many years. It takes 10 years before you get to, the $90,000 salary, which you're still taxed on heavily, right? So you don't actually take $90,000 a year home. So, I would have had to really get that type of pay for another like 8 to 10 years. And it's just it doesn't align really with my goals. I guess I have bigger goals than that. And I want to be able to like be there for my family 100%. And I just feel like as a teacher, especially right now, what we ask from teachers doesn't match what we give them. And that's just my personal opinion. I know everybody has, their own opinion, but having been in that career and like I did the job for 3-4 years, and it's very difficult. It's very, very, very hard, especially when you have your own kids back home. So yeah, but I mean, we do have we have the real estate, which we're always going to keep investing in. And that's basically my pension plan, is to just have multiple properties who basically pay us on a monthly basis, right?
Fantastic. Okay.
Yeah.
So for the listeners' benefit, before we were recording, I invited you on the show because a commonality between many of my guests and some of my friends who are dynamo real estate experts and professionals, many of them come from MLM. And most recently, Lynne Tham was on the show, and she achieved a pretty high level of in multi-level marketing before she moved on to a different career in real estate as an agent, and now she's a stock hacker. But anyways, but I've heard it many times. For example, Jules Mckenzie also did multi-level marketing before going full on into real estate. And I remember in school, one of the most successful entrepreneurs who actually came in front of us and spoke, who did give a talk to us, he was saying the importance of sales training. And we're like, oh, we go to business school, so we don't need to learn sales training because sales is awful. Those people are, it's a not a good, I don't know, It's just a lot of people don't want to do it.
Yeah.
We didn't
Yeah.
really understand how much money they make.
Exactly.
I think that part was missing. I actually I've literally heard that before. I went to university, so I don't have to do sales. Seriously, I
Yeah.
heard that's what's in one individual's opinion. But since growing up a little bit, I remember being in a position like yourself when I was probably closer to your age and doing a pivot. And I was reading a lot of Brian Tracy at the time, and he comes from a sales background as well. And he even just made the question. He just posed the question: look around your organization. Who makes the most money? Right? It's the people who make the company the most money, or they save the company the most money,
Yeah.
right? And then you look at their education requirements, uh, and then and then someone like similar to Ryan, your husband.
Yes.
Okay, so similar to Ryan, a lot of the salespeople in our organization, like I work for a risk management company, so a lot of the managers and above a lot of them had masters and PhDs, right?
Hmm.
I don't think any of the salespeople had that level of education, but but a lot of them made a lot of money. And
Yeah.
I'll quantify for the listener what a lot of money was. I believe the base salary was 120,000, right,
Hmm.
before bonuses and commission, which would be, and then for some of them, they actually got paid more than the executives of the company. So like, oh, my eyes are now open to this. And again, I wanted someone to come on the show to speak specifically to MLM, multi-level marketing. Again, also something that comes off with it gets categorized with sales. Like I don't want to do it,
Yeah.
uh, but I've seen you progress, and uh, is Instagram your main platform for?
Yes, it
Okay,
is
interesting.
now. I mean, I'm hoping to get on more platforms. I think
Uh-huh.
the more platforms you have, the better it is. Like,
Right,
I
right.
would like to be on, YouTube, TikTok,
Mhm.
even maybe like my husband was even talking to me about Twitch this morning, which is like
Okay.
a platform for gamers. But he's
That's what
like,
I
you should
thought.
do your workouts on there.
Right.
But I don't know. I'll have to check it out. I've actually never been on Twitch before.
Mhm.
But yeah, right now I'm just on Instagram. I feel like for my age group, it's really what people prefer.
Mhm.
Facebook is still really good to get leads and get clients as well for like an older clientele, I find.
Mhm.
Facebook, like people that are 40 years old or older, I find is better to get them on Facebook, but younger people tend to be more on TikTok and Instagram. So I think the trick is to just diversify and be on as many platforms as you
Mhm.
can, really.
Mhm. And also one of the reasons why I brought you on the show, I invited you to the show, not just to talk about MLM, but also often one of the biggest challenges for real estate investors is coming up with a down payment,
Yeah.
right? I hear this question all the time. I have $30,000. I have $60,000. How do I get into real estate? Well, I say, well, you need to learn to make more money.
Yes, for sure.
I'm someone being open-minded as myself, and I know Lucia is quite successful, and I've seen you hustling, and now you're telling you're making more money than you were as a teacher. Like I think
Yes.
people need to understand these opportunities better. And folks, this is not a promotion for any MLM. I don't endorse anything or anyone, but I believe in learning from people who are living it how things work. So can you how did it start? Like how did you start with Monet? Is it?
Yes, it's money. So, I mean, like I said earlier, I started because I was following Elena, and Elena was giving training, exclusive training to Lucia's team with Monade. So this is not something that she does for like all of Monade. It's only Lucia LaRosa's team. So for me, that was like valuable. I saw value in that. I like Elena. I think she's very inspirational. I think she has a lot to teach other people. And I think it's important to stay close to the fire. Like, if you want to be like someone, if you want to be close to someone, you have to surround yourself with people who are like the people you aspire to be, right? If
Mm-hmm.
you're always
Mm-hmm.
hanging out with, I don't know, like mediocre people or negative people, you yourself will be negative. So for me, I needed to be surrounded by people who were successful in real estate and people that were hardworking and that were able to set goals for themselves and for other people around them. So that's kind of just like how I got started. I approached Lucia. I was like, wait, how is this girl like basically best friends with Elena Cardone? And I knew that she had something very special about her. And we started talking. I
Mm-hmm.
had so many fears, you know, before getting started. My first fear was that it's an MLM. Like
Yeah.
a lot of people, like sales is hard, but MLMs is harder because people have this idea in their head that like MLMs are bad or MLMs are like pyramid schemes or MLMs are annoying because like there's that reputation, right, of MLM companies and like direct sales. So like
a lot
I
of that's
knew
just
it was
poor training. A lot of that's honestly just poor training because I've seen it. Right? I got sucked into one, and I saw their training. I'm like, I ain't doing that. And you're actually going to, and they convince what they teach is, you know, you take this to your friends and family. Like, oh God, I need to cut it off right there, right? And that's what I also like about what you're doing, because since like my understanding of Instagram is, what sells well on Instagram is products you can demonstrate.
Yeah.
And that's all you're doing. I'm generalizing. I'm not an expert at this at all, but I see you demonstrating product. And
it's just shampoo. It's like so easy, right? Like everybody, like you wash your hair, I wash my hair. It's something we already do. So to me, it made sense. And I did not join for the product specifically. Like my reason was more for the training, for the opportunity, for like what I could gain financially from this experience. But it just happened so that the products were also really good and that I felt like they worked for me and I could definitely sell them. So yeah, that's just kind of like how I got started. But it's definitely not like a quick and easy way to get rich. I feel like a lot of people have this idea, maybe because some people, when they promote their MLM business, you know, they kind of promote it as like, you can get rich, you can be a millionaire, but you also have to have the personality to fit into that sales business. Basically, you have to be hardworking. You have to be able to get, people will say no to you. People will say, no, I don't want to buy your product. And you can't be butthurt. You can't just like stop or cry about it. You just need to move on. And it's go, go, go. Like you can't care about people who say no. And I feel like a lot of people, when they hear no, they just feel, you know, you feel sad. You feel like your confidence is hurt and they give up on themselves. So an MLM business will always be like, regardless of the MLM, I mean, as long as they have good products, you're always going to be successful in an MLM business if you are consistent and if you don't give up on yourself. The moment you give up on yourself is the moment everything just goes downhill, really. And I think that's why,
again,
like,
this is an observation.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I feel this is just an observation from someone who has no idea about this stuff. But again, you're just demonstrating product.
Yeah, for
like
sure.
You're applying makeup, you're applying moisturizer, and you are a former model. I don't think that hurts in all this.
Yeah, I mean, but anybody could do
that's
it.
probably the best way to sell.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, but
you have a guy line?
Yeah. Well, our products are unisex, and we have some men who do monate, and they're very successful too in the business. So I would say, like, it depends on your personality, but definitely, I think you know, men and women should use skincare products and hair care. So I personally don't think there's anything wrong at like demonstrating it, but yeah, that's basically what we do. We just educate and demonstrate people about the products, and then we make money on your sales. So you make commission on your sales, but you also make money on growing a team because you'll make residual income on having a bigger team.
And that's the weird thing as well, because I do believe people are uncomfortable with that model as well. But you know, I'm an employer. I employ people to build my team, to build my business. Are we terrible people?
Yeah.
I think people need to change their mindsets around these things.
For sure. Yeah. I mean, the tricky part
'Cause
with MLM too is like you can't really fire someone, right? So if somebody on your team is not performing, if they don't believe in themselves, if they don't show up for themselves, like it's their business, even though they're on your
Mhm,
team and they're kind of like they joined your business, and they're
mhm,
part of like your team. You can't fire them. You can't like tell them like, okay, like you're not in my team anymore. Like you just have to be very very good at working with a lot of different people because so many different people join that business.
mhm, mhm. And also, the same people who think like the getting paid for building a team, like I pay lots of money to coaches. Like, and I'm sure Lucia makes money from you working on her team. Like, that's kind of like how the
Yeah.
world works. You
Yeah,
need compensation
exactly.
if you're going to invest yourself in someone. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah. I think I need to ignore these other people. Now, how out of your comfort zone did doing Monet? Am I saying that right?
Yeah, you're saying it right.
Okay,
I
because I'm
mean,
saying
I
like the
had to
artist. I think.
push I had to push my boundaries and really get outside of my comfort zone. I didn't even
Mm,
have like Facebook and Instagram for the longest time. I was like totally against social media for the longest time too, but I think COVID changed a lot of things and like now we
uh-huh,
see like the value of working online. Like you can stay in
uh-huh,
your house and make money and I think social media can be evil at times
uh-huh, uh-huh,
if you're just one of those people like scrolling your life away and you waste tons of hours consuming non-educational or non-inspirational material, like
mhm,
it can be very evil and for kids too, right, for teenagers. But I think social media can also be very positive if you decide to follow people who inspire you and like if you don't consume that bad content
mhm,
and if you don't like there's two categories of people, right? There's people who consume on social media or just scroll their life away, and then there's people who produce content and that
uh-huh,
make money with the people who scroll. So I definitely wanted to be in the category of people who create and can get income from social media.
uh-huh.
So I had to push my comfort zones quite a bit. Like going live is not super easy at first when you're not used to it. You're like so scared you're going to say something dumb or like not know what to say.
Mhm. Oh, you're the
Um,
first person to say "butthurt" on this show, by the way. But go on, continue. I'm sorry. I apologize.
hopefully no kids are listening.
No one
Yeah.
listens to this show.
So yeah, like and creating reels, like if you want to have people's attention, you need to get out of your comfort zone. And reels is a new app on Instagram that is I find I get a lot of benefits for my business with reels. Because people can find your account through a reel, so you can gain new followers by doing so. And also like getting your message across. It's like a 15 or 30-second video, and you can get your message across by making it super funny, entertaining video. So it's sometimes a nicer approach that's less salesy or less aggressive than maybe talking to people or posting a story that talks about your business.
Mhm,
And also like the sales process, like asking people for the sale, like that's not something I was comfortable doing at all. Like I don't know, when I started, like, something I would tell people would be like, "Let me know if you wanna buy my product." But people, if you say, like, "Let me know if you wanna buy my product," the person is not they're never gonna let you know. They're never gonna reach out. You need to ask the person, like, "Are you ready to purchase my product?"
mhm,
So
mhm,
I think it's just, like, the way that I ask questions, the way that I ask for the sale is very different now,
mhm,
and knowing what questions to ask for the person to be ready to make a decision. I think these
mhm,
are all things that I'm learning to do, and it's outside of my comfort zone, but the more you do it the better you get at it,
mhm.
and it's a process.
Now, so you said I had no idea you went from 0 social media to, like, full out, uh, because again, like, you used to do modeling. I thought those people posted stuff all the time to social media.
Yeah, I was never like a professional model. Like when I was a personal trainer, I did a couple photo shoots. And then when I started my Monet business, my neighbor did a photo shoot with me, but it was never like a professional thing. Like I did like personal training. And then I was a teacher. So those are basically the things I did. But like
Right.
modeling was kind of just like for fun here and there.
Right. Yeah, because teachers are usually quite private.
Yes, exactly. So when I was a teacher, I didn't really have social media because I didn't want my students really like involved in my private life and all that stuff. And so, yeah, I just like, I didn't really believe in social media. I didn't think it was good for people.
Hmm.
And I didn't think it could bring anything positive to my life.
Hmm. Was that pushing your comfort zone as well, posting these pictures? Like these, like, I don't know if you say they're not professional, they look professional to me. And
Yeah, like, yeah, I think I would say it's pushing my comfort zones. Like taking the videos and the pictures with my neighbor. She's so amazing. She's a great photographer. And she also switched her career. She used to do eyebrows, and then during COVID she started this photography thing, and now she's just a full-on photographer. And
Mhm,
she did a really great job at making me feel comfortable and um just, yeah, easygoing. It wasn't
mhm,
too stressful, actually.
mhm, mhm. And for the benefit of the listener and yourself, um, I've always said to people, like people say, like I don't have the money for real estate. I only have 30,000, 60,000, whatever. And I always say to them, I don't always say to them. Sometimes I'm nice and I don't say these things, but that I've just seen enough
Yeah.
that uh, that people without excuses will make it happen,
Yeah.
right? And you've shared many times how many times you have to step out of your comfort zone.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, like living in your basement, when you have a 1-year-old, it's not easy. Like it's not what you want to do. And like I'm 32, I still don't have a forever home. Most girls my age, they want that or they have that, and they have the
Do
big
they?
house.
Do they? You live in
I
Ottawa. I
mean,
heard it's pretty
my
expensive.
a lot of my friends have it. I
Uh huh.
I don't know their financial situation, but I think for me, I'd rather have my future set up and make those sacrifices now while I'm young so that I can have the rewards when I'm older
Hmm.
and so that I can give more to my son. Like for me, having the big house right now, yes, it would be nice. Like I would love to have a backyard. I don't have a backyard and I have a huge dog and a baby. I would love to have, a playroom for my child instead of having all the toys crammed in the living room. But it is what it is. Like if you don't make the sacrifices, you're just gonna be an average Joe. And like I don't want to be an average Joe. So I have to make those sacrifices now. And I'm already seeing like the rewards, right? Like the duplex is a reward for me struggling with 3 roommates upstairs. And I didn't feel like having 3 roommates. Like, who wants to live with 3 college kids upstairs? Like,
Hmm.
not
Hmm.
a lot of people want that. But you need to know where you're going in life. You need to know what your goal is. And the bigger that goal is, the more drive and the more fire you're going to have inside to make the sacrifices.
Hmm. That's awesome. Cool.
Yeah.
And then can you tell us more about the sales training that you get? Is it like formal? Is it textbook? Like what is it? Because again,
Um,
I've seen this so. For anyone who's been listening to the show for a bit, there's a good number of people again who've done training who've had significant sales training, and I bring it up because, for example, a lot of people don't know how to talk to sellers, right? They don't know how to
mhm.
negotiate, or they're
Yeah.
just way too shy.
Yep.
Versus with the training that you're going through, it pushes you out of your comfort zone. and
Absolutely.
I believe these skills are likely transferable to real estate, for example, or anything in sales.
Anything. Yeah. And everything in life, when you think about it, it's a sales process. Like putting your child to bed at night, it's a sales process.
That's the
You have
hardest
to
one. That's the
sell.
toughest client.
Toughest crowd. Yeah. You have to you have to know which questions to ask to get the sale, and sometimes it's just about knowing what to ask the person. So the sales training I have access to, it's a formal training. So I guess I would say it like that. Like my team and like Cardone Capital are very intertwined
Oh,
because Lucia's husband works for Grant,
yeah.
Steve Spray.
Hmm.
So he gives a lot of like Zoom training to our team, but basically we have a private Facebook group for my team where we access all these sales video trainings that we have to watch. Most of them are done by Lucia and Steve together. And Steve, he's an expert, right? Like he sells to big CEOs, like he sells like 50,000, $100,000 deals. Like we just sell shampoo. It's like
Hmm.
$100
Hmm.
or like maybe $200 if you buy like expensive skincare stuff. But our deals are much smaller. It's the same process though.
Hmm. Hmm.
So yeah, we have access to all of this. Plus, Monate itself, like the business itself, has like a back office with some training too. There is a huge community aspect about the business where we are part of multiple different group chats with the other girls or the other people that do the business. So if I'm struggling closing a client, I can maybe, I don't know, copy paste a conversation to that group and help somebody to, what should I say to this person? We also have calls pretty much every evening with motivational speakers because a big aspect of sales is mindset, right? Like if your mindset is shit, if you don't have any confidence in yourself, you're not going to be able to sell anything because you don't believe in your product or you don't believe in yourself. So self-development is a huge part of our business.
Hmm.
So usually once a day in the evening around 8 or 9 p.m. we have sometimes it's Daniel G. He's from Toronto. You should know him. Daniel, I think his last name is Guarana, Daniel G.
Okay.
So he's a millionaire. I think he's 22 years old from Toronto, and he makes most of his money from social media as well. But so he comes once a week and gives us a training. We have Elena Cardone, and then we have like the top income earners from the company as well who train us every night basically for an hour.
That's awesome. And just
Yeah,
to give the listener some background, so I know Steve because Steve was the one that facilitated us bringing Grant to Toronto. Uh,
amazing.
yeah, so Steve's super awesome,
Yes.
and and you probably already know his story, but for the listener, like I believe he was his, I think he was like around 20 years old, and he was sleeping in the furniture store where he worked. Right, he was coming from that low a place. And then just recently, he has invested $1 million US into their real estate. I think it's a REIT, isn't it? Cardone Capital. Again, folks,
Yes.
this ain't endorsement. I don't endorse anyone, folks. I only endorse the stuff I put out there. I'm just trying to give facts and give background.
Yeah.
Like Steve is that level. So how many people on this show have invested $1 million cash into something? Like Steve went from sleeping in a furniture store to being one of the top performers at Grant Cardone's business, making hundreds of thousands of dollars a year in commissions, and that's the person that, and him and his wife Lucia are the ones that are teaching you this stuff. That's pretty cool because I can't imagine what it
Yeah.
costs to get Steve's an hour of Steve's time. Probably expensive. Wow, this
Yeah,
sounds good.
exactly. I was just with, he trained me for an hour last night about how to ask for the close. So
Right, right.
yeah, it's awesome.
That's awesome. I think I listened to a video of his because he closed. Just to give an example, he closed the deal with, I think it was Ashley Furniture. He closed.
Wow.
He sold. Folks, don't quote me on this, but he sold a national chain, a furniture store, um, their sales training. Right, so massive, massive contract.
Yeah, for
So that
sure.
he's that level, right?
Yes,
That's
and we
pretty
also
cool.
have Dave Roberts. You for sure know him too. So he's actually part of Money too. He's the market partner like me now. but he also comes and gives us some training, and he's part of Cardone Capital as well. So it is very like intertwined, the two companies together, just because there's so many relationships, you know, and friendships between the two companies. But that was my main like reason for signing up. I was like, take my money. I know that these people they know things I don't know, and I want to know those things. So that's why I did it.
But you still do continue to invest in your own real estate as well.
Yes, for sure. So, I mean, they don't teach us on real estate. It's purely sales and like, you know, network marketing and social media stuff. I still follow Grant for his real estate advice. Right now, we're kind of just in a spot where we can't do much because we're in the middle of that renovation, right? So until our renovation is done, we're kind of on pause, and we're doing most of it ourselves too. So like working, you know, all day with the baby at home, and then every evening Ryan's gone to do the renovations. So and weekends, but we're hoping to be done by Christmas.
So are you doing the renovations yourself too? Are you swinging hammers and punching toilets?
Oh man. So yeah, we're doing parts of it ourselves, you know, parts like some of the stuff was subcontracted because for example, we had to rewire the whole duplex, like all of the electricity had to be rewired on both levels. So that was obviously a professional electrician that came in. You know, we have like professional plumber, all that stuff, but some of the things like the framing, the drywall, all that stuff, painting, all that stuff is us. The demo. So yeah, right now we're just putting the ceiling in. So we're not, and we got like the HVAC finished yesterday, new furnace and new AC.
You and Ryan are doing the ceiling?
For this ceiling, we did like the framing. So like
you did?
Because it was, yeah, we did. Yeah, it was like, it was a kind of like a classroom ceiling, you know, those suspended tiles that looks like a classroom ceiling. So we didn't want that. So now it's just going to be drywall, obviously, and all up to code and everything. So, but yeah, it is a lot of work. Like this is part of the sacrifice I'm talking about, right? Like every weekend and every evening for us right now, it's dedicated to real estate, but it should get a little bit better after Christmas.
Well, you and Ryan should listen to my episode that I did with Chris Lewis. They did this.
I will.
They did this 10 times.
Wow.
Yeah.
10 times.
10 times. 10 duplexes.
Does he have kids?
One.
Okay. That's tough. 10 times.
In 5 years.
I'd be curious to see where he's at now, though. He's probably like really well off.
Oh, you have 10 duplexes.
Yeah.
Do you know the numbers on this duplex deal?
I'm gonna try to remember. Ryan's gonna kill me when he hears the podcast, but it's okay.
That's okay. So it's roughly
okay. So
fine.
we bought the duplex at a really good time. Not the summer that just passed, but the one before. So 2019.
Yeah.
And we bought it downtown Ottawa in an area that's called Little Italy. So we bought it for $485.
Was that on MLS or was that something else?
Yeah, no, it was on MLS. We were shopping for a while for a multi-unit building, and like the market last year was crazy. It's crazy. I think it's crazier now, but like it was crazy back then. So like everything we went to see would just be sold, and like we didn't even have time to put in an offer. So we bought this place with no conditions, and everything went pretty smoothly with a quick close as well. And then we renovated the top unit completely, and we got it reappraised a few months ago, and it was appraised with the top finished and the bottom was not touched. It was $670, and now we're finishing the bottom. But one of the issues that we were having with the reappraisal was there hasn't been any sales in that area for a while.
Mhm.
Like the streets, there hasn't been other duplexes of a duplex that were
Mhm.
sold, so there's no comps, which is why they gave us a bit of a lower price. But there's recently like 2 or 3 that sold on the same street, so we're hoping that like the next appraisal, which we will have after this renovation, because we got an open mortgage, we're hoping that it's going to be, you know, closer to the 800, hopefully.
Excuse me?
We're hoping to get close to 800 for the reappraisal when the bottom is done.
Okay, there's a little bit to unpack there. So,
Yes.
I believe the Ottawa market was up over 20% year to year. Would that, like, what do you think this house would have been worth? Say you didn't do any renovations to it. You bought it, you sat on it for a year. What do you think it would have been
My
worth?
house, like the
Yeah.
house I had before,
No, this duplex, the one you bought for
this
45.
duplex.
Well,
So we
soon to be
renovated it
duplex.
right away.
No, but
Right away when
say you did nothing. Say you just closed on it.
Oh, okay.
What
So if
would
we
it have
did
been worth?
nothing, I think we would have probably, I mean, I think you would have been able to probably get around 600, 580 maybe. 580, I'm thinking. I don't know.
Okay.
It went up quite a bit in 1 year.
Okay. So what goes through my head is I always talk to these investors like, oh, I'm waiting for a good deal. I'm waiting for a good deal. You know, you kind of created your deal by just buying a year earlier. Right?
Yeah, I
You
mean,
made
the
market
best time
appreciation
to
of over
buy,
100 grand.
yeah.
Like,
I mean, the best time to buy in my head, it's like yesterday, right? Like, even if like the market is not in a good spot, I always think it's better to just like do it now. Cause like if you keep waiting, especially in a place like Ottawa,
mhm.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen this year with COVID and everything, but I don't really see the market really like going downhill. It may maybe stop a little bit or like slow down, but I'd be very, very shocked to see the market kind of crash,
Mhm.
you know? But we'll
Just
see. We'll see what happens when CERB is all done.
just knock on Justin Trudeau's door and tell him to let even more immigrants in. That'll create a little bit more demand for real estate.
Yeah, for sure.
What did the renovation cost you for the upstairs?
Upstairs, I believe we paid $60,000.
And then how long
60.
did that take?
That took 3 months.
Oh, that's okay. It's not bad.
Yes. So it was tenanted at the bottom. So our bottom tenant, when we purchased the building, he was already living there. So we kind of just, he stayed there for the whole time that we did the renovation. And he recently bought a house. And that's when we started the renovation at the bottom.
My word. Okay. So 45 buy, you put in 60,000. So that's about 545 market price. Then you had it appraised for 670. So you've increased your net worth by about 125,000.
Are you mind blown?
And then what's the basement costing you? The basement for a renovation?
So the bottom, I think we're gonna be at 50K for the bottom.
Okay.
And we're saving a little bit of, I mean, we did get a lot of estimates because like, yeah, so we did get a lot of estimates, but they were all like way over $100,000. So, which is why we decided to do it ourselves, and it's saving us a little bit of money that way, right?
Mm-hmm. Wow. So you're gonna increase your net worth by almost $200,000. Okay. And then when are you gonna rent this for? You already rented out the
Okay,
upstairs?
this is the good part. So the
Wait,
top
this
part,
is already pretty good already.
so the bottom we were getting 1,800 before the renovation. It was not nice. Like I
Wow.
personally would not have lived there. Like it's like a tiny bathroom. It's a 1 bedroom. By the way, it's a 2 bathroom, 2 bed at the top, and the bottom is a 1 bed, 1 bath.
Uh-huh.
So it's a huge duplex, like it's very big. So the top unit, we're getting probably, I'm thinking through right now it's 3,000 for the top, and then the bottom is going to be probably 2,200. And this is going to include most of the utilities, I'm thinking, because um, the hydro was not ever separated, so I'm still not sure what Ryan is doing with that. The HVAC got in yesterday. I would have to speak with him a little bit more. But I know that before this renovation, we had to cover the utilities because hydro wasn't separated with both units. So I think that now it's going to be separated and we're going to be able to charge utilities on top of the price. But the top one is very big. It's the 2-bedroom, 2-bath. It's like open concept with a skylight, which is like kind of like a luxurious thing. Not a lot of places have a nice skylight in Ottawa. So this one we're getting about 3,000 for upstairs, and then the bottom is a 1-bedroom, 1-bath, but it's also going to be very luxurious and fancy and all new everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that one is going to be more like 2,200, maybe a little bit more.
What's the square footage on the basement? Just roughly? And I'm just wondering why you chose 1 bedroom over 2.
I think we're like, so it's pretty big. I think we're 1,200 square feet per unit.
Just 1 bedroom?
Yeah, but it's like very open. So you walk in,
Okay.
you have like a big open concept kitchen, and then the 1 bedroom. And there's also like kind of like a den, I guess.
Okay. So it's
Yeah.
almost, so it's like a 1+1 then. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so for the listeners' benefit, I'm just going to summarize some numbers. So you bought it for 485. Upstairs rent was 60, downstairs rent was 50. So you're in for just under 600,000, but you did do some of the work yourself. But you're renting it for 5,000 plus some utilities. So your annual rent is almost 10% of your investment between the purchase price and the renovations. And I don't care who you are, I'm pretty sure everyone's happy with those numbers. Extremely happy with those numbers.
Yeah, we're probably not selling it.
Well, someone will give you a price. My word, that's a great deal.
Yeah,
Good
I
for
think
you.
we just, we bought it at the right time. There are some downfalls about the building, like there's no backyard, right? There's no outdoor space.
Uh-huh.
And
people don't care if they're paying that kind of rent.
Yeah, like I think right
You're downtown
now
though.
Yeah, we are downtown. Yeah,
okay.
so there's no like it's the perfect space for probably, a working couple or something. But I know that during COVID, a lot of people are looking for that outdoor space. So there's definitely some downfall about the building. I would find it challenging to live there without a balcony or a backyard, but there's always, somebody that's willing to pay the price to live there for sure. And we keep the rent at market value. So I don't think we're going to have any trouble renting it at all.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You don't post much about your real estate on your Instagram.
I don't. I do a little bit, but I find a lot of the people who follow me are my age. Not that many people are into real estate, especially in Ottawa. It's like a different type of world. Like it's a government town. Most people are just very satisfied and happy with their daily, 9-to-5 job and like living a very simple life. So I have very different goals from people that live like around me. And I feel like sometimes maybe people just like don't understand that or they can't relate. But I definitely want to show more in the future. I've been showing little bits here and there about the renovation, and I'm hoping to continue to do that for sure.
Right. Because I actually think that's part of people that do MLM is they're looking like they're hustlers. Like, I'm a hustler too. I did real estate to make money on the side, and you're doing just like you're doing real estate to make money on the side.
Yeah.
Plus all these other real estate investors I know that previously did MLM, they all invest in real estate to make money on the side. Some of them decide to eventually do it full time.
Yep.
So I don't know. I don't know. You're the social. You have way more followers than I do.
That's crazy to me. So crazy.
Yeah, I think I just passed 2,000 Instagram followers. But
I
this
have
this
to
has been
say, like,
fascinating stuff.
it
Just
really
go ahead.
is. I was just gonna say, with the followers, I've been doing a lot of giveaways, which I've seen a lot of like positive, feedback from that, because people keep
Hmm.
following you and you give a lot of free content, which you already do. You do, the podcast is amazing free content.
Thank
Um,
you.
yeah, so I'm sure you'll get there for sure.
Yeah, I get some hate too. I meant to ask, like, do you get hate as well?
Not much, like
Oh,
not
really?
much. No, I would say I'm very careful about what I put out there. Like, I'm the type of girl, like, I try to be very selective about like the pictures that I post.
Hmm.
Like, I would never post, like, I'm not too much into posting like provocative stuff, or like, I don't know, like sexual pictures. Like, I like to be portrayed as like a career woman. I'm a mom, and I care a
Hmm.
lot about my reputation and stuff. And I want people to take me seriously. And I feel like people get that from me. Like, they know that I'm that type of person too.
Hmm.
So sometimes, I'll get the random creepy messages from guys, but I just like don't really like, I don't pay attention to that. I don't like feed it or give any of my attention to it. And I think people in general, like, I have no problem, bringing Ryan in my stories and like making him part of my journey on Instagram, so that people see that, okay, this girl is like taken and she's serious and she's not, that type of person.
Uh-huh.
You always get, the random people who, like, for example, last week I had a girl, she sent me a message and she's like, oh, your business sounds like a Ponzi scheme, like a
Mm-hmm.
pyramid scheme.
Hmm.
And then we had a nice discussion about, why she thinks that. And I was able to educate her a little bit. And like at the end of last week, my phone rang and it was the same girl. And she's like, hey, I want a side hustle. I'm like ready to make money. And she wants to join my team.
Mm.
So you just never know what can happen from hate. Like, I think it was Kim Kardashian who was saying that, like, any press is good press. Like, even
Hmm.
if people talk bad about me, as long as they're talking about me, I don't care. And it's kind of like, I have the
Hmm.
same type of attitude. If people are talking about me, even if they're not talking good things about me, I'm still on their mind and I still made an impact. So bad press is still press in my
Hmm.
head.
I believe Justin Bieber owns the record for the most dislikes on YouTube. But
What? Really? Oh my
are you
God.
surprised?
Yes.
I'm
I
sure
love
Gangnam Style is
Justin.
up there as well for the most dislikes in YouTube history. But again, like, they're pretty successful, so do they care that? Like, they don't need to care. I think
No, you
Grant
don't
gets
need
lots
to
of hate
care.
too. I get plenty of hate too. I'm sure I'll get hate for this episode as well.
Probably. You'll probably get some Monet or like MLM haters or something.
But again, if nothing else, like, but yeah, go ahead and hate. That's fine. But if if you can tell me that you are in a financial position to buy houses and you're like, you make enough money in your day job and whatnot, but
Yeah.
it's the one of the most common obstacles I hear from investors is I can't raise a down payment, right? And it usually stems from you don't make enough.
Or you spend too much, right? Like,
Yeah,
people
yeah.
people want to live this high life. They want to keep up with the Jones, and I feel like that's not always like compatible with getting wealthy. Like, people
Hmm.
that are wealthy actually have to, I think they have to live a really humble life to get there. And we're always like consuming, reality TV and like social media, and we see this like fake reality that people are living, and like they just want to portray that they have the best life, the best house, the best car, but in the end those things are all going to fade and they're not going
Hmm.
to pay you. So you have to
Hmm.
invest in things that pay you for the future.
Hmm. Hmm. I was actually discussing with my marketing team. I was trying to explain to them who our customer is, and it's actually interesting. For anyone who's read the book The Millionaire Next Door, same things are true on my clientele. very, very few of them drive a luxury vehicle, right? And like only one person came to top of mind that does drive a luxury vehicle, but he got a sweet deal on it. Right? So frugality is extremely common among successful people. So for the listeners out there, just like you said, either save it or you make more. I prefer to try to make more because it's more scalable.
Yeah.
So one of the questions I wanted to ask is, like, how do you project your income potential? Like
I mean, right
you
now it's
shared that
still,
you shared that you already surpassed your previous job income.
yes,
Do
yes,
you expect it
but
to? Go ahead.
so I still have to put in the work, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
even if I got there, I got to like my teacher income. If I don't work this month, or if I get a little bit lazy, well, that's going to go down, right? It's not going to
Mm-hmm.
stay there. So I have to always work hard. And if I keep on working hard, then that amount is going to grow exponentially.
Mm-hmm.
So every month I add people to my team.
Mm-hmm.
So technically, if you keep putting in the work and your team gets bigger, bigger and bigger exponentially, and their team, your downline's team gets bigger as well, then you should always make more and more money. Like, we do have people in the company who are making $1 million a month, and it's not uncommon in MLM business, but they had to put in the work to get there, and they still can't quit. Like, you still can't just like give up, because at that point you have all your team who's dependent on you for like, their income and their motivation. So you can't let them down, and you have a lot of people depending on you. So yeah, I think you just have to be willing, to keep on putting the work, and the rewards are just going to come, but you can't stop like after a couple months. And I think that's the thing with MLM. Like, a lot of people do it for a couple months and then they're like, oh, I'm still not a millionaire, so I'm going to stop, or I'm going to give up. But you need to do it for a certain amount of time. I would say at least 2 years of going like hard in the
Mm-hmm.
business.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. But
Yeah.
is it hard?
Yeah, it's hard. Like, but I mean, life is hard, right? Like, being a teacher is hard, but
Yeah.
I prefer this hard as opposed to like being a teacher. Like, um, you get people who say no to you. You get on calls and people are like, yes, I'm interested. And then they quit after a few months, or you invested your time in training your team. And next thing you know, somebody just gives up on themselves or gives up on the business. Like, there's so many reasons why I could have quit in those 5 months that I started my business, but I didn't. And that's why I'm here today.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Cool stuff.
Yeah.
All right, we've actually gone over time. I don't know if you noticed. I think your phone keeps buzzing, so I don't know. I think you have other things to do. Where can people follow along in what you're doing? Yeah, so TikTok, Twitch, Snapchat. You're actually young enough to know what all these things are. Most of my guests don't.
For now, people can just follow me on Instagram. My Instagram is at Pascale Brisson. And yeah, so I'm very active in my stories. I post every day, not just about the business. I post about real estate. I post about fitness. I often do live workouts for my followers, especially right now that, like, COVID life and not all the gyms are open.
Mhm.
And I post about real estate and about my family. That's pretty much what I do.
That's amazing. Well, good for
Yeah.
you, because you guys are young hustlers and you've accomplished a lot just with that one real estate deal. Good for
Thank you
you.
so much. Thank you
You-
so much, Erwin.
Any final words you want to share with the listener? Because I always hear all these people that are stuck, and you've made a significant pivot, a very significant pivot.
Any words? I just like you're capable of literally anything that you put your mind to. Like, you're capable of, like, look at Grant. Like, Grant was a drug addict. Like, he was a nobody, and he switched his life around just with hard work. And like, I think you need to take a good look at your life and just like, where can you improve your life? Like, what are the things that are fueling your fire, and what are the things that are dragging you down? And just like, you need to let go of those things that are dragging you down. If your daily activities are not productive to your ultimate goal, If you live a toxic life with toxic people, you're never going to get to where you want to be. So I think it's very important as a business person and a salesperson to have that ability to take a look at your life and your habits and to let go of the toxic habits and surround yourself by just positivity and replacing those activities by, getting educated, getting trained, reading a book, watching a sales training on YouTube, and just like consuming a lot of that type of stuff, and you'll get to where you want to be.
Amazing. That's awesome. Thank you again for doing this. Tell Ryan I said hi.
Thank you, Erwin.
All right. Thanks.
Thanks.